Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and it's time to do my February TBR. Well, I wanted to theme my reading this month and I had two different themes in mind and I couldn't make a decision between the two, so I decided to split it down the middle and do a little bit of both. The first theme is probably pretty obvious. It's Valentine's month, so of course I want to read some romance, and I've got some Christian romance picked out as well as a couple of contemporary romance picked out. And the second theme I thought of is kind of a fun alliteration for this month because I have a lot of science fiction fantasy that is on my TBR for this year. I thought Fantasy February had a nice ring to it, and so I looked through my list of fantasy books that I would like to read, and I have picked out some of the ones that I think I'd like to read this month. And then I have a couple that are science fiction fantasy and romance. So as my friend the book nester said, it's RomFan, and I think that's awesome. The first one I want to show you is one that I intended to read in January, and I only read a tiny little bit of it. I didn't even mention it on my January wrap-up, but it is the first Grace Livingston Hill book that is on my list of books to read this year. It's called Where Two Ways Met. Now I plan to do a video about my Grace Livingston Hill project that I'm doing this year, but I want to read a total of 12 books, and this is the first one on the list. I just got a little ways into it, so I definitely want to finish this one this month. Another one by Grace Livingston Hill is called Bright Arrows, so I would love to finish both of these for this month, and then if I feel like it, I might go ahead and read the third one, because in March I plan to only read mysteries, so I'm trying to get some romance ones read right now. And the third Grace Livingston Hill book that I'd like to read is called A Girl to Come Home To. This is in a bind-up of 3 Grace Livingston Hill novels that I have. I believe my mom gave this to me some years ago, and it probably came from a Christian book club, and I will eventually read all of these, but for now this book is number 3 on the list. If I don't get it read in February, then I will bump it to April. I've got one more Christian romance that I would like to get to. I'd like to read June from the Brides of the West series by Lori Copeland. This is a bind-up of Faith, June, and Hope. I've already read Faith, so if June is just really awesome, which I think it will be, I may just go ahead and finish out this big chunker of a book, which is all 3 books, and read Hope as well. I don't know. I'm going to leave my options open. And then I've got 2 contemporary romance books that I would like to read. I have the first book of the Harmony series by Jodie Thomas. This book has been on my radar for at least a year, and I've now collected, I think, the whole entire series, and I really want to get to this first one, and I'd really like to get started on the Lucky Harbor series by Jill Shalvis. This is the bind-up of the first 2, which are called Simply Irresistible and The Sweetest Thing. I for sure want to get at least one of these read, and hopefully both of them. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Okay, so moving on to the fantasy books that I'd like to read this month. I do have a few chunkers on my TBR, so I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but these are my top choices, and I always like to pull more than what I think I can get read. I didn't really challenge myself to read as many as possible, but also to give myself choices. So the first fantasy book I have on my list is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I won this in a giveaway from Lori of Reading Mama 5, and I was so excited to get it, and I can't wait to read it. And speaking of Lori of Reading Mama 5, she was hauling the Aragon books not too long ago and mentioned that, you know, if anybody wanted to buddy read any of the books that she was showing, that she would be up for that. And I think I wrote her back and said that I would be interested in buddy reading this with her. So Lori, if you're watching this video, I would love to get to this one this month. She may still need to read Aragon. I don't know if she's read Aragon yet or not. And if she hasn't, then I can wait until she's ready to read this one. But I have this on my potential TBR, and I would like to get to it this year sometime. And this is book 2 in the Aragon series by Christopher Paolini. Another series I've already started is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is book 2, Royal Assassin. I discovered that this is available on audio free through Hoopla, which is a library subscription service, and I'm really excited about getting to this month. I've got a middle grade fantasy series that I would love to finish. I've got all 3 books here, books 4, 5, and 6 by Catherine Lasky. The series is The Wolves of the Beyond, and the 4th book is called Frost Wolf. The 5th one is Spirit Wolf, and the 6th one is Star Wolf. I read the first 3 of this series a few years ago, probably 3 years ago, right after I read the Guardians of Ga'Hoole series, and I really loved them. So I just got a hold of book 4 just in the last few months, and I had been holding on to book 5 and 6 until I could get book 4. Now, when I finish all of these, I want to pass these on to my sister's grandson, Tate. Another one I'm going to get to a little later in the month because I've had this checked out for a while and it needs to go back to the library, and then I'll get it back in a couple of weeks. This is A Light by Scott Sigler. This is the sequel to Alive, which I read in January, and Katie, I believe, has reread them both while we've had them out, and she really, really loves the series and can't wait for the third one. In fact, there's a giveaway right now on Goodreads for the third one, which of course I've entered, and I'm excited to go ahead and get to this one this month. Another fantasy book I have is The Dark is Rising by Susan Cooper. This is book 2 in the Dark is Rising sequence. I want to read this whole series this year as it is one of the Newbery challenges with the Newbery group on Goodreads. It's like a mini challenge within the greater challenge to read all Newbery winners, because this is not a Newbery winner, but a lot of Newbery winners are series books. And since the 4th book in this series is a Newbery winner, I want to go ahead and read all the books leading up to it and then go ahead and read the 5th one as well. And this book seems to have some Merlin undertones, and that's interesting because my April read for my local book club is Once and Future King. So I don't have that checked out from the library yet, but I am going to go ahead and check that out this month as well and see how much of that I can get read, because I've really become an overachiever with my library book club. I've already finished the first 3 books for this year, so why not go ahead and start on that one? Plus it fits with my theme this month. This is one of the Sunshine State books for this year. This is one that Katie needs to read for her book bowl for school, and it's an extracurricular thing that they do at her school to motivate the kids to read Sunshine State books. So this is one of the ones in her group that she's supposed to read, and I want to read it too. It's The Luck Uglies by Paul Durham, and I don't know anything about it, but just from reading the description on the back, it seems to be sort of a dark fantasy book. Here's one I've already started, and this is not really a fantasy, but just from the description, I believe it's going to have some magical realism elements to it, like the 3rd book in this series did. And this is The Whole Town's Talking by Fannie Flagg. I have already started this on audio. I've also got my beautiful print copy that I got for Christmas, and so far this is a lot of fun. It starts out as a prequel, and I'm learning about the history of Elmwood Springs and the townspeople, and then I believe it's going to then move forward to a little more modern time. I'm not sure yet, but just from the description, that's what it sounds like. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I love Fannie Flagg. She is my favorite author of standalone books, and even though this is part of a series, all 4 of these books could really stand alone, and they're very enjoyable. So I'm really excited to get to this. Now, I mentioned that a couple of my books were RomFan. Well, this is one of them. This is a book I've been wanting to get to for a long time. In fact, ever since I heard Felicia from Little Prairie Library mention this a couple of years ago, it sounded so good, and I really have been wanting to read it. And Katie started talking about wanting to read it, so we went ahead and checked it out from the library. It's The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. The whole trilogy is available now, but I for sure want to get to at least this first one. They are big chunkers, and I can't find them available on audio anywhere through any of my free resources that I know about. So it looks like I'm going to be reading this one in print, but that's okay. And my other one is a reread, and really this is more, instead of a RomFan, this is more of a sci-fi romance, I know, but anyway, this is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. I reread Cinder last year, and I want to reread Scarlet, Cress, and Fairest before I read Winter and Stars Above. So I've only listened to it on audio, and I think I missed a lot of the details just by rushing through it on audio. And this is a book that I really enjoyed, and I would like to go back and really just enjoy it and savor it. So this is one I plan to read this year. Whether I get to it this month or not, I don't know, but it's on my potential list. And I mentioned in my January wrap-up that I was 39% finished with an ebook on my Kindle, and that is Pauper to Pedigree by Angel M. And this book is just really fun. I read a little bit more of it yesterday. I'm going to go ahead probably and get it finished up here pretty soon. It's really a fun book. It also has magical realism elements to it because it's about a girl who is really, in the book she's called a dog whisperer, but she's the step above that. I mean, she's more like a Dr. Dolittle, where she can hear literally what the dogs are telling her, and it's just a lot of fun. fun. She's got a really fun friend who reminds me a lot of a friend I had in college, and it's just a cute book so far. I am enjoying it. I think there is going to be a little bit of romance in it, and I thought at first it was going to be a cozy mystery, but so far there's not really any mystery. It's just her and her business partner and friend, and they have this mobile pet grooming business, and they are just going around and grooming their canine clients and talking to them, doing a little dog therapy with them, and it's just a lot of fun. Angel is one of my subscribers and also one of my friends on Twitter. She's got at least 3 books out, I think, and so I'm looking forward to finishing this one and possibly reading some more of her work in the future. Oh, and I forgot to mention another little ebook that I am reading. It's actually a Valentine's story, and it's part of the Miss Julia series by Ann B. Ross. This book is a short story, and it's only available in ebook form, so I purchased it. We have 2 or 3 ladies that meet together on Wednesdays for a craft group at our church, and none of them have access to e-readers, but they've all read the entire Miss Julia series. So I bought it and spent a couple of different Wednesdays just reading it aloud to them, and I hope I'm not breaking any laws by doing it, because if we could have it in print, we would definitely pass it around. It's a short little story that they wouldn't have any other opportunity to read. So I'm reading it in little sections each week for the next few weeks. So I know that's quite a few books for my TBR, and I don't expect to get to all of them. I know some of them are chunkers, but I'm going to read as many as I can, and I've got some good choices here. So let me know what you're reading for February. Do you have any theme months coming up for this year? Well, if so, let me know. And that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.